Ahoy, this is Zdenka. If you want to learn how to film stunning time lapses and hyperlapses with motion blur on iPhone 17 Pro, this tutorial is for you. This video is brought to you by Reeflex. Native camera app does not give you that much control when it comes to filming time lapses. That is why I will be using an app called REELAPSE that will take the time lapses and hyperlapses to a whole different level. REELAPSE just had a major update. This is version 2.0. To film a basic static time-lapse, you need to use a tripod. The first thing I'm going to enable is the tilt meter. This will help me to make sure the camera is not tilted and the horizon is perfectly straight. The first thing you want to do is set up your interval. I'm going to select 0.5 as the cars are moving fast. The clouds are also moving fast. Very simply, if the movement in the scene is very fast, you will select shorter intervals such as 0.5. If you are filming just a nature time lapse and the clouds are moving quite slowly, you can select a longer interval, 10 seconds. I would like to have the motion blur in the time lapse, so let's go to FX. And since I selected 0.5 seconds interval, I'm going to bring the FX to 0.5 seconds as well. Next, I will select frames. I want the final time lapse to be 15 seconds, so I will be looking at the output window and drag the frames until I see 15 seconds there. The capture on the left is telling me that it will record for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Next, I will adjust exposure so the highlights are not overexposed. I will bring it down slightly. I will also lock focus. Simply tap on the screen to select your area you want to focus on and hit the manual focus icon. Once the manual focus icon is enabled, it will be locked. The last thing to do is select white balance so the colors stay the same throughout the whole time lapse. Let's leave the resolution on max. It will be shot at 12 megapixels and the resolution will be 4:3. If I really needed to get 9:16 or 16:9 aspect ratio, I would lower it to 4K, but it will give me 50% fewer pixels than max. So for this reason, I will stay in max. Before I press the shutter button, I will also enable the timer as I don't want any camera shake, which could be caused by pressing the shutter button. This time lapse was filmed on top of Highway 407, and I can tell you that I've been thinking about fellow creators, YouTubers who live in those warm places, because right now we are heading slowly into winter months and the temperature is definitely changing and the weather is highly unpredictable. One day we have rain, the next day we have very high winds, something like 30 kilometers an hour, and then we have rain again, and it's just crazy all over the place. So I'm filming outdoors whenever it is possible. That's why you're not going to be seeing for a little bit regularly videos. They will be kind of published as they are ready. So yes, that's why I did not film myself standing there, because it was very windy. I was bundled up all the way. I was trying to make it through. All right, let's return to time lapses. I do have a tip when it comes to lenses. I read in the comments all the time someone asking me, what lens should I get next? When it comes to filming time lapses specifically, wide angle lens is quite suitable as it is going to give you something between ultra wide angle and wide angle. You can get 110 degrees field of view, so if you are filming in a city and an ultra wide is too wide and the main camera is too close, you can use this lens to get a bit more. This one is also from Reeflex. I'll link it below for those interested. I will also link a video where I'm showing all their other lenses. Another lens you can use is Anamorphic Lens. I personally would not probably use it at night when you see many lights and cars driving by, because the flare effect could be very wild and it could be a little bit too much. But for time lapses with the stationary lights, which is not moving, perhaps nature time lapses to get the wide look, it could be very suitable. Here is one I filmed to show what it looks like. I decided to film this time lapse with Anamorphic Lens in 4K because I simply would like to have that video published in 16:9 for the best results. One thing you need to know when you are filming with Anamorphic Lens in this app is that there is no discrete setting built into Relapse app. So you just film the clip the normal way, and then you have to squeeze it in the video editing program to get the correct aspect ratio. I, for example, edit in Adobe Premiere Pro, so I have to hit modify the clip, then interpret footage, go to pixel aspect ratio, and confirm to HD anamorphic 1.33. I want to point out one more thing when it comes to Anamorphic Lens. As it is super wide lens, you are going to get some distortion around the edges. Here's a perfect example how you can learn from my own mistakes. The tower on the right is quite crooked, it should be straight. I should have framed it a bit better. I should have not included the tower in the shot. It will be way nicer look. If you want to film motion lapses in Relapse, I would suggest using a gimbal Hohem iSteady M7, as it is a special feature that lets you program movement directly on the gimbal. Here is the result you are going to get. How do you film a hyperlapse? To get the best results, it is best to use a gimbal. Any gimbal will do. When you film, walk at the same steady speed. Make sure you select log mode for the best results. If you keep it in pan follow mode, for example, the gimbal will be slightly moving left and right, so you will end up with a drunk looking hyperlapse. As I'm going to be moving, I will choose a faster interval, 0.5 seconds. I will keep the effect at 0.5 seconds as well, as I want the motion blur. I don't know how about you, but I always enjoy watching those light trails filmed at night. There's just something about that look, I really like it. As I'm filming cars passing by at a very high speed, I will select a short interval, again 0.5 seconds. To get the light trails, I will select a longer effect. Let's do 4 seconds. When you're recording, it is fun to watch, as this is actually happening as you are recording. You can see that on the screen. You can already see those light trails appearing. Relapse tutorial would not be complete if I didn't go through the entire app and show all the settings. For those who wish to film in manual mode, ISO and shutter speed are here. If you want to go back to automatic and reset all settings, just double tap on the screen. The 3 icons I didn't mention below are focus peaking. This is mainly helpful if you're selecting focus manually. Whatever you see highlighted in green is in focus. Next is histogram. I honestly don't use it as much as I have a very clear visual. The smartphone screen is quite big, so I can see nicely what is overexposed. If you tap on it, it will change to RGB mode. Zebra stripes are last. The areas that are overexposed will show red, and the underexposed areas will show blue. Let's hit settings, as there are some important ones you should not miss. Under video settings, let's hit frame rate. The default is set to 30 frames per second. You can also select 24, 25, and 60 frames per second. I need to mention here that this newly updated app has improved motion blur averaging when you film in 4K at 60 frames per second. It will give you smoother results even in dynamic scenes. Video codec is next. Another update is here. Besides filming in HEVC, you can also film in ProRes 422HQ, ProRes 422, and ProRes 422 Lite. Bitrate is set by default to medium. If you want the highest quality, you can select high quality. Just keep in mind that the files take up more space on your phone, as they will be bigger. The last setting is backup. Here you can enable save backup video and save individual frames. The video will be saved in the document directory of the Files app. If you enable save individual frames, those will be saved as JPEG photos and grouped in a folder that can also be found in the document directory of the Files app. This is for those who want to do advanced color grading of individual frames. When you go back to the main settings, when you scroll down, it will take you to discover our Reeflex apps, products, community, learning material, info, and support. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Relapse app. I will personally incorporate it more into the production. The motion blur really brings the time lapses to the next level, although I admit that I feel that I need to experiment a bit more with different effects times to see what it can truly do. But that will take time, as I have to film quite a large amount of time lapses to see what those settings will do. Give it a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll see you in one of those next. Ciao, ahoj!